going to talk about wall hangings. So again, this is not a project I'm going to necessarily give you a full-on video demonstration of. We're mostly just talking about what your options are. When we talk about your choice board wall hanging, things that you can focus on. So if you want to make something pretty and decorative that just hangs on the wall, you might focus on a specific pattern that you're going to recreate. Maybe that pattern is retro. Maybe that pattern is music themed. It's your choice there. Maybe you're going to focus on texture. So instead of just drawing something on, you're physically changing or mucking up the surface. Again, that would be more of like a decorative piece. You can focus on color scheme for this one. So let's say I did want to do just a pretty decorative one, but my focus is going to be on the color scheme. So you have choices between like a monochromatic. Mono means one, chroma means color, all different versions of one color. I could go over to the glazes and check out that there's maybe 8 or so different versions of blue. And so my color scheme is going to be monochromatic. I'm going to paint fun shapes in my carved designs on my wall hanging, and that's going to be my color scheme. You could choose to do rainbow. You can do warm colors. So those are your blues, greens, and purples. Or maybe you're going to do, did I say warm? I meant cool. Cool colors are blues, greens, and purples. Or you could flip-flop that and do warm colors, which are reds, yellows, and oranges. You can do a triadic, so colors that are equally spaced on the color wheel. That would be primary colors, all 3 of them, secondary colors, all 3 of them, or you could apply that by turning it to the tertiary colors. So those are your blue, green, red, yellow, or red, orange, those versions of color. You can choose to do, gosh, what other color schemes are there? Feels like a million. So you might have to go out into the wonderful world of the web. Maybe that's where you're doing your picture examples are coming from, different color scheme artwork. You can choose to do something functional. So something functional would be like a key ring holder. So make something that hangs on the wall. It might need to have little posts that come out of it, or little hooks made out of clay that you're going to hang your keys on. It might be a little shelf that you intend to put picture frames on. You can do a wind chime. Wind chimes, obviously for this purpose, probably aren't going to be necessarily clinking together to make noise, but I'm thinking more like hanging on a wall vertically, piece under piece under piece under piece. Popular ones are like the moon phases, or different sections of a fish that all meet together. I have lots of picture examples too in the binder on the Google Classroom under each specific project. So for this one, you'd look under wall hanging. Your last one would be like a signage. So welcome to the Smiths, or a Christmas sign, maybe something for Halloween, which is going to come up here pretty quick, depending on when you're watching this video. Yeah, holiday options are always good too. So the one thing that you really need to focus on for the wall hanging is how does it hang? If I were to make something like this out of clay, it's the state of South Dakota, kind of with some of the features in each part of the state depicted, but you need to be considering how heavy something like this is. How is it going to hang? Does it need to have a stud to be hung on, or can I just put it like a nail in my drywall? If you don't know anything about construction or hanging things, a stud is when there's an actual piece of wood behind the plaster part of your wall. That's where you want to hang heavy things. How that happens is kind of up to you to determine. So maybe you poke a hole through, this is just my piece of wood, my office sign in a pinch, but does it need to have a hole maybe on both sides that are strung, and then it hangs, you know, something, it would hang something kind of like that if it had a hole where my finger is holding onto the wood here. Okay. If it's something like the phases of the moon, it's going to need multiple holes. You'll need one at the top to hang on the wall, one at the bottom of that top piece to attach to the next and the next and the next. The only one that would have one hole, not both top and bottom, is the very last piece. The one that hangs on the very bottom would only have one on the top. It wouldn't serve a purpose to have an additional hole there in that bottom piece. You could also create, it's kind of hard to see here, you could also create like a little ledge on the back out of slabs, or using a different method. I don't know if you can kind of see that. for a nail to catch on and give it some little teeth on there as well so that it sets and balances and doesn't wibble wobble back and forth. So again, the big part of the wall hanging is, number one, focus on your surface. Okay, you're in an advanced class, make sure things are neat, pick out any burrs. Obviously, you don't want to leave this all to painting. This is a pottery class. So even though one of the focuses or themes could be a color scheme, you can't just roll out a piece of clay, poke 2 holes in it, and then say, well, I'm just going to paint my design on. I am grading you based on your making skills. Yes, the glazing and finishing is a small part of it, but just be conscious that you're not leaving it all up to glazing or painting, okay? Again, with all of these, you're gonna have a choice whether you wanna paint or glaze them. And that is wall hangings.